Anong tinitingnan mo dyan, Jer?
Huh?
What are you looking at?
Just Gundams, you know.
Dito po kami at EJ's crib. Gundam Aldic. Pumunta ako dun sa may CFM. Nasama kayo. Sama kayo. Mukha na CFM. Tayo. Yung CFM ni EJ. Umilitas tayo ng CFM. Yan. CFM. Walang kaubusan. CFM. Yan. Ang dami ha. Maubos. CFM. And another one. And another. Yay! Unlimited tong CFM mo dito. Kaya pala naubos yung stock ng Tamiya USA. Is that the last lap?
We got more cars. We got a couple more. Want to catch that?
Just catch it.
42.9. Wait, don't touch that. Don't touch the top.
This is Cielshock from City USA Mini 4-Wheel Drive Racing Squad, and I'm a teacher in New Works. And there you go, you see my basic tune class time attack heat, which basically my fastest lap, and I won first place in Habitat. And today I want to share you my basic tune class high speed setup. So basically the tune class high speed setup is no cuts, no trims, no floating transmission. Everything is all basically snap on and bolt on parts. So, and run by obviously by tune motor. So this is my latest build, my basic tune class build, and obviously it's a VS chassis. This is Reese, because obviously it's the colorway. It look like Reese's Pieces. How ironic. But thank you Team Raw, by the way. Shout out Team Raw from Tamiya Saigon, CTUSA, band royalty, and all that fun stuff. Alright, so we're gonna talk about the build. So before I talk about the build, I just want to tell you that this build is not just like an ordinary build. This is specifically for high speed category, basic tune category, which is I try to make the car as light as possible, as less drag as much as possible, and I want to get as much as top speed as I can. So I'm gonna start with this body catch. So this is the rubber body catch. It's actually a new part from Tamiya, like not too long ago, probably 2 months or a month ago. It's item number 95393, and as usual I will write it down over here. It's item number 95393. It's a rubber body catch, blue and red. So this part. So basically I use this part so to make my car lighter, and it's easy to remove, and it actually secures the body catch better compared to other body catches, and so much lighter obviously. Alright, so that's item number 95393. Okay, and then we're gonna talk about, and then the next part that we're gonna talk about is the VS chassis. Alright, to people that followed me already, you guys already know that my favorite chassis is a VS chassis. But in picking a VS chassis, actually I'm actually picky when it comes to categories and what kind of material I'm gonna use. So this is a VS chassis, and by default VS chassis is already light, but there's a chassis that's actually the lightest, the VS chassis, this orange VS chassis. You guys might be wondering why I use VS orange VS chassis. It's not just because orange and yellow is one of my favorite colors, but the VS orange chassis, which is the fluorescent chassis, is the lightest VS chassis that you can find. It's made of it's fluorescent, and as I've said, it's lighter, and also you're basically sacrificing your durability, but for high speed, you need to make the car as light as possible. So this is the fluorescent orange VS chassis, which is 95355. It's actually a combo pack. I think it's with a fluorescent yellow, but it's 95355, the orange VS chassis. And the reason why I picked the fluorescent one, because it's super light. Alright, the next part that I'm gonna show you is the Thunder Dragon clear body. Okay, the Thunder Dragon clear body is you can get it from a kit, and you can also buy it separately. It's 95336, the Thunder Dragon. The reason I picked the Thunder Dragon is it's compatible with VS chassis, and I kind of like the aerodynamic thing looking. It might not be the lightest body for a VS chassis, but I really like the design for this, and it's easy to recognize body for me, just my own personal preference. Okay, so that's 95336, the Thunder Dragon body for VS chassis. Alright, obviously I painted orange to match the color. Alright, the next part that we're going to talk about is the high-grade carbon multi-setting stay 3mm fine silver, which is this part, okay? The reason why I picked this is it's not just because this is the only part that is available for me that I have, because it's 3mm. So as we all know, if you guys watch my video, the VS chassis overview, VS chassis' weakness is durability, which is the chassis itself twists and turns, and especially on high-speed events, this front part is very, very fragile and flexible. So in order to compensate that weakness, I picked the multi-setting stay 3mm thick, which is 95261 high-grade carbon. So I will have the front bumper without bumperlessing this car, because you know there's no cuts to make it all secure, because this is 3mm. It's really, really tough. So that's the reason why I have that 3mm thick, because of the weakness of the VS chassis. So you gotta remember, if you're picking a chassis, you gotta find out the strength and weaknesses of the chassis. So that's the purpose of that. Again, that's 95261 high-grade carbon multi-setting stay 3mm fine silver. It doesn't matter if it's silver or black or yellow lame or whatever, as long as it's 3mm or 2mm thick, enough to secure the front bumper of the VS chassis. Alright, next part is we're going to the back. It's the high-grade carbon rear plate for AR gold lame. Some people says it's rare here in America, but I can see this still available in some parts of Asia or whatever. It's item number 95064. Again, that's 95064. It's high-grade carbon white plate for AR chassis 2mm gold lame. It doesn't need to be gold lame. It's just happened that I have the gold lame and it matches my car. But the reason why I picked this too, you can also use other rear stay, but specifically I use this rear stay because you see those holes over there. It's kind of like, it's not lightweight, but it's kind of lightweight because it's 2mm thick, and it does also have some holes over there, so it's kind of like a weight reduction thing for me. Ideally I want to cut it and then make it closer to the body, but again, I can't cut, I can't trim, so that's the best I can get, so I can be fast in corners. Alright, so the next part I'm going to talk about is the large diameter. This is an extra large diameter for Super X and Super X chassis. Item number is 15446. Alright, again, that's 15446. As you take a look at that, that's the extra large diameter Super X extra large low profile wheels. Alright, so if you buy this, when you buy these wheels, it doesn't come with this yellow hard tire over here. The reason why I use this, you guys might be wondering, Sir Shell, why are you using a Super X chassis wheel on a VS chassis? Alright, so this is high speed, and if you guys look at the track layout that I posted earlier before I do this review, the track layout have a lot of corners, and as you put the the wheels closer to the body as much as possible, it will be tremendously fast in corners. It will be tremendously fast in corners. So that's basically the point. And why did I use large diameter? I basically sacrificed the weight for having this heavy ass wheels, because you can see this is a close wheel. Most wheels have like holes, like 5-spoke, 3-spoke. Why not 3-spoke? Because I sacrificed the weight a little bit to have better top speed, and I will explain later why did I sacrifice that to have a better top speed for this car. So this is the largest wheel that I can get, that I can use, which is not too heavy. It was just all right for me, in my opinion. Okay, so that's item number 15446. So I can have a better cornering. So it's super close to the body. All right. Okay, so next part would be the rubber wheels. Okay, the rubber tires. So the rubber tires is yellow arc tires, hard. So where will I get this part, or where we can get this part? It's from Avanti Yellow Special. It's actually a kit, a VS chassis kit, which I get this internals over here, so I can have like that two-tone look, which is I always have that yellow and orange trademark that I have when I start racing. So it's also my trademark, because you can identify it's my car when it's running, because it's screaming orange and yellow over there. But it's an Avanti Yellow, and okay, so it's an Avanti Yellow. You get it from Avanti Yellow Special again. It's 95060. That's the Avanti Yellow Special VS chassis. That's where you can get this yellow arc tires. Okay, people will be asking, why did you use the yellow arc tire? Okay, so yellow arc tire is obviously, it's a large diameter, so I basically stretch it so it will fit on the extra large wheels. And when you're using an arc tire, it's like an offset tire. You know, I can actually get an offset tire if I want to, but I don't have an offset tire available, so I chose to use an arc tire. So it's the drag when the car is turning, and again, the wheel differential, the gear differential when they're pulling each other, it might be a rear motor car, and they said it's a 4-wheel drive because of the propeller shaft, but still the torque will be coming, all the torque from the motor will be coming from behind, and they basically like pulling each other if you have more grip on each rubber. So because it's an arc tire, so there will be less drag when it's turning, and it's basically tremendously fast when it's turning. It's supposed to be. So again, this category is tune class basic, so you have to make your car as less drag as much as possible in cornering and straights. And so that's the reason why I have all these parts all built up specifically for this category. So again, that's the arc tires from Avanti Yellow 95060. Okay, moving on. Let's go inside the motor. So I use Torque 2 motor because I have Torque 2 motor. Why Torque 2 motor? A Torque 2 motor, by the way, is item number 15484. Again, Torque tuned motor 2 is item number 15484. And then the question is, why did I use Torque tune motor? This is one reason. Okay, Torque tune motor is not have a lesser top speed compared to Torque Tune 1, okay? But I use Torque Tune 2 because Torque Tune 2 have better commutator, because I think they have a little bit of carbon commutator for Torque 2. No, not carbon commutator, it's actually brass compared to the plastic commutator of Torque 1. So Torque 2 might it will last longer compared to a Torque 1, because a Torque 1, if we use it on a high-speed race, based on my experience with Speed Tech, it burns a lot quicker than a Torque 2. So because it's high speed and it's 5 lanes, I need my torque 2 to last the whole race, especially with those crazy laps that we have. So I chose torque 2 to be safe. So I will have a lot of torque, and I will also have a longer motor life. Alright, so that's the reason why I use Torque Tune 2. And also, I use Torque Tune 2 because I already have an extra large diameter wheel and also a large diameter arc tire stretched to the large diameter wheel. So I have the top speed that I need. So I need a little bit more torque from Torque Tune 2. As I said, that it's torque, so it's basically cliche that it's torque. So you will have that torque compensate with a lack of top speed of the Torque 2 with your wheels. So basically, that's the point of having the torque, using Torque Tune 2 and combining it with a large diameter wheel. Okay, moving on. The bearings that I use are AO620s, obviously. AO620s for me is the best bearing that I can use because there's no waggling or wobbling or whatever you call it. It's pretty secure. And I put some roller spacers. If you can see it over there, there's some roller spacers in between the AO620s. So the alignment of these wheels are better. And I can maximize the power of the AO620s because, as you can see, there's no floating transmission, no floating gear, and I just use the roller spacers over there. Okay, so next will be the Super Speed gear set, which is item number 15432. A Super Speed gear set is a combination of yellow and light blue gears right here. There you go. And I have an AO620 bearing over there that I use, and also I also put a roller spacer over there which just fell down over there. All right, that's the AO620 that I use, and this is the 351 gear ratio, which is the yellow and the light blue colored. Okay, it's called High Speed Gear Set 15432. Again, that's 15432. The reason why I use this gear ratio, again, I use this gear ratio so I can have all the top speed, because 351 is the fastest when it comes to top speed. It might be less when it comes to acceleration because it takes a lot of load from the motor. And because we have a torque tune motor, which have a lot of torque to push the 351, that's the gear combination that we use. So basically, torque, top speed, top speed. So we basically compensate the weakness of the torque tune motor of lack of top speed by using a super large diameter tire and a super speed gear set, which is 351. All right. So, and also I have a fluorine shaft over here, which that helps a little bit more when it comes to smoothing the transmission, because I tried to make the transmission smooth as possible. I don't have the item number with me, but I will write it down. Again, that's the fluorine shaft, coated shaft for VS chassis. You can use this for Super 2 too, I think. So that's the fluorine shaft, and that's a Super Speed gear set. Alright, so if you get closer on my motor, there's an old school part here, which is very, very interesting. It is a heat sink. It's item number 15101. This is our old school part. It's actually a hit and miss. I'm not really sure if it's a placebo effect or it actually works, but for me it works because my tune motor lasted long. So it basically takes all the heat from the motor, like it's basically conducting the heat to lessen the possibility of overheating your motor. So that's the Heatsinks 15101. So you basically attach it with double-sided tape over there. Alright, so next part will be the purple pinion gear. I didn't use the white stock pinion gear, and I didn't use the carbon pinion gear because carbon pinion gear for me, not a big fan of it, because the carbon pinion gear what you call that? It's get beat up and then it get a little bit looser. Some people use carbon pinion gear, and some of my motors I use carbon pinion gear. But if I have this pink pinion gear, this is the one that I use because this is my favorite. My favorite pinion gear compared to other pinion gears. It's actually AO1014. That's the item number, AO1014. It's just a basically personal preference. All right, you can use whatever pinion gear you can use. Okay. And also you can buy this pinion gear into a combination of the metal plastic pinion gear hop-out part, which is 15289, which is the 8 teeth metal pinion gear, and the purple 8 teeth pinion gear, which is 15289. Okay, so I explained that part. As you can see, I didn't use a propeller shaft. I just used a stock propeller shaft because I don't have that hollow ones, but it's supposed to be hollow. But we're going to the rollers. Okay. Picking the rollers. I know some people might be laughing because I'm so anal when it comes to color matching, but it's this is 17 millimeter 95349. This is the 17 millimeter 3-spoke rollers. Plastic with plastic O-rings. You can the reason why I use plastic O-rings is so I have less drag as much as possible, because it's as you can see, the track layout is a high-speed track layout, and also it's the reason why I use a plastic O-ring rollers is to have less drag, because it's a high-speed race, and I just want to make the car as smooth as possible. And also, these 3-poke 17 millimeter rollers are light as hell. Okay, again, that's 95349. Okay, so I have 4 of those, so 2 sets. As you can see, there's 2 sets. And then at the bottom part, I have this 19 millimeter 95385 5-spoke 19 millimeter rollers. Again, that's 95385 19 millimeters rollers with plastic orange rings. Okay, so you guys might be wondering why I have that combination. This combination is proven for me. I did a lot of research about like old school high speed, and I've been reading some stuff about it, and I noticed that the old school high speed setups have bearings and plastic rollers. So I was like, Tamiya never made that, so I want to make it as close as possible. So I chose to use the rollers with O-rings, so that's the closest I can get with the old school high speed AC rollers with bearings inside and plastic. The whole rollers is plastic and there's a bearing inside, so that's the closest I can get. So the combination I have is 19 and 17. I made an experiment about this. I'm not gonna lie, because before the race, I kind of like time myself on my racetrack here in my house. I used all 19 before, and one thing I noticed, that if I'm using 19, my car is 3 seconds slower with my motor, and same setup and same battery settings. So I look at the track layout, and there's like a huge straight, and there's few cornerings. So if I want to get less drag as much as possible, I thought of something like maybe I can have no stabilizers and just use all rollers on top, but act like a stabilizers, but it's still spinning at the same time. So I experimented a little bit. I used 19 at the bottom and then 17 on top, and it performs well. So basically, it's a little physics that every time the car is on a straight long panel, the drag that I will get from the rollers is only the bottom part, which is 19. So basically, the 19 part is the only one riding the track wall, not the 17 on straight panels. And then when it comes to curves and turns, the car will tilt a little bit, and this 17 millimeters will act as stabilizers, but it will have less drag because it's plastic O-ring. So that's basically what made my car faster when it comes to cornering and straight. Alright, people may say, oh, your car is tilting left and right. Your car is not stable. So when the car is not stable, the car will be slower because not all of the four wheels is touching the ground. Yes, that will be yes, that not all four of the wheels are touching the ground, but your car is basically drifting. And because of the high speed, because we're racing high speed and we have a lot of like a lot of air and speed going through the panels, even though I'm using 19 millimeter rollers, the car will still do that. It might be lessened, but still, there's no way that your car will have perfectly like touching the ground. So every time your car turns, it will tilt a little bit because there's no dampers on this kind of setup. So even though I'm rocking 19s, not 17s, it will still tilt, and I will still have that swerve or drifting kind of thing, but it will be lesser drag because I have 17. So basically, I will have better speed when it comes to straights and cornering because I'm basically drifting. And if you guys watch drift race and actual cars, even though the cars is drifting and it's not stable, compared to the cars that are not drifting and turning at the same time using their brakes, the drift cars are still you're basically sacrificing your control, your stability. You're sacrificing your stability, but you're still faster. So that's what basically so it makes sense if you guys try to add it up one by one, how my setup is: my torque tune motor, my gear ratio, my wheels, my rubber tires, my O-rings, the chassis of choice, the weight, everything. So this setup is actually, I started this to build this setup. So that's the point, having those two wheels. Those two rollers. And that's basically it. That's all my setup is. There's no secret about it. People might be asking me, oh, you break in your motor better, you use magnets on your motor, blah de blah de blah de blah. No, it's not that. Because if you really rely on motor, on my opinion, you're not going nowhere. For me, it's mostly transmission, your whole setup, and you study the track layout and the chassis you're using. You didn't just rely on your motor. For me, relying on motor is just no-brainer. Like it's like a muscle car thinking, oh, I'm gonna have like the fastest motor, but your car is not set up for that track layout or for that category. So there's no point, even though you have the fastest motor. To be honest with you, on my next video, I will have that my open class car, which I used Ultra Dash. I competed against oldie and rewinded motors, which I beat them. I beat them by just using an Ultra Dash. Why? Because my settings and my car, I didn't rely on the motor. I basically rely on the transmission, and I trusted my setup. So you'll see that on the next video. But this setup for basic tune class, hopefully you learned something about it. It's basically torque get compensated with top speed and everything. So if you want to see you want to take the last look on my car, it's the VS chassis, Reese's. Oh, before I forget, this catch over here, I used brake pads. It's the black brakes, so I can make the transmission smoother, because when you don't have that pushing the motor and the gears are not super aligned. So that's one reason why my transmission and my gears are aligned all together. It basically pushes the motor over there. So that's it. So you can do anything. You can't cut. You can't whatever. No secret about it. So that's Reese's, my basic tune class car. And hope you learned something. This is Cielshock from CTUSA Mini 4-Wheel Drive Racing Squad, and I'm a teacher here in Noob Works. As I always say, we learn from you, you learn from us. Peace. Always race humble.